James, Horn, we were all really shocked. Frank, we were all really shocked. When they were actually announcing the decision, when they said it was 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27, we all honestly believed they were going to say Frank Mir. And when they said Andrei Arlovski, we couldn't understand why. And even Dana White at the post-fight conference said, I thought Frank Mir won, you know? So really, I do believe that in MMA, maybe because they're using boxing judges, that the judges still don't quite understand how to score wrestling, how to score submission attempts. Because if you look at the whole fight, you know, the second round alone was the most dominating round for Frank Mir. He scored a takedown, he scored ground and pound. He dominated him on every aspect of that match. And for one judge who, as we know, that's a boxing judge, but that judge didn't even score any of the rounds for Frank Mir. That didn't make sense to us at all. And then in the third round, we actually scored a knockdown. And you know, in boxing, if we score a knockdown, even if the other person was winning the majority of the round, once we scored a knockdown, it's a 10-8 round for the person who scored it. In MMA, I understand that they don't score it that way, but a knockdown is still a knockdown. So Frank Mir knocks him down, ends up on top of him, starts to do some ground and pound, goes for a Kimura, that's a submission attempt, then goes for a guillotine, that's another submission attempt, and for none of that to be scored, it just doesn't make sense to us. So we were all very disappointed, and we felt that Frank Mir should have definitely won the fight. John Hamm, who's an Olympic boxer that gets trained by Greg Jackson. I just heard this recent interview with Ricky where he was talking about how, as a sparring partner for Arlovski, John's whole job was to keep getting Arlovski to make sure that he's going in and out and staying away from Mir's boxing and staying away from Mir's power. So during the fight, you actually noticed that too, that there were even instances where Mir was daring him. He was daring him, like, come on, let's get in a fight. Let's get in a slugfest. And Arlovski didn't want to do it at all because I think Arlovski knows that if he gets touched by Frank Mir, even once, he's going down. So even in the boxing aspect, you know, this is where we even question this. Like when Canelo fought Lara, right? A lot of people would sit there and say, well, I thought Lara won. Well, the reason why I didn't think Lara won is because Canelo pressed the action the entire fight. Do I believe that Lara had spots where he would outbox Canelo? Sure, but did he win the fight? No, not at all. And I feel the same way with Mir versus Arlovski. I don't believe that for Arlovski to be the favorite to beat Mir in boxing, to be the favorite to knock out Mir, well, he didn't engage. He didn't go toe-to-toe. He didn't come forward. He didn't fight Frank anywhere near the way he wanted to fight someone like Travis Brown. Like, remember how he fought Travis Brown? And he was just guns blazing against Travis Brown? So why didn't he do that? So I almost feel like Mir was being punished for Arlovski's lack of drive and lack of enthusiasm in wanting to make the fight happen. And, you know, physical aesthetic looks, I mean, I saw some of that where they were like, well, Mir was too heavy. Well, if Mir was too heavy and if Mir was the one that was getting tired, then how come no one's blaming Arlovski for looking really bad in that fight, you know? The guy that was pressing the action, the guy who got the takedown, the guy who was going for submission attempts, the guy who scored a knockdown, that's the person that should be rewarded. It shouldn't be the guy who was running around trying not to get hit. With the way we do things with Lundell MMA and the things we do with head coach Ricky Lundell, he always wants the fighters like Frank or Anna or any fighters that he works with, he wants them to finish fights. He wants them to be action-packed fighters that can finish fights. And you saw Mir tried to finish this fight. You've seen Anna tries to finish fights. So I don't quite know what Ricky's gonna want to do for the next training camp. I know that he's gonna want Frank to take a break because Frank just fought 3 times from February to September, so that's a lot of fights, especially in the heavyweight division. I have heard Ricky say that he would like a Ben Rothwell fight, so I know Rothwell's supposed to fight Miocic next. If Rothwell wins, that would be great. I've heard Fedor's coming back. I know me personally, I would love Fedor versus Mir. I think that would be awesome, especially because Fedor knocked out Arlovski. I would love for Mir to get a chance at someone like Fedor, and then if Mir knocks out Fedor, we get to actually go out there and say, see? We're not, you know, we didn't lose to Arlovski. We actually really did beat Arlovski, and now we just proved it again by beating the guy who knocked out Arlovski. In terms of what would be next for Frank, though, I know that all of us we all have that vision that we want him to go for the belt. And the sooner that Dana allows us to do it, then the better it'd be for us. I just don't know when that would be, because, you know, Dos Santos is supposed to fight Overeem, right? And then Kane's fighting Verdum. All right, so the heavyweight division's really busy right now. So we don't know. And Travis Brown, I heard, is reinstated now, right? So I don't know. I don't know what's going to be back, what's going to be next. I think Frank Mir, like you said, he's a true professional. Been in the UFC for almost 15 years now. I do believe that no fighter ever takes a loss easy, and especially when you feel that you deserve to win, that's very hard. But, you know, Frank's going to be Frank, you know, and I think that he's going to move forward. I think he's going to sit there and say, hey, I can't control what the judges are doing. I know that come next fight, I do believe whoever that is, whoever the next opponent is, look for Frank Mir to finish him either submission or ground and pound or knockout, because Frank's coming 100% on that next fight, just to prove to everyone that, hey, I'm not going to let the decision, you know, get to me anymore. I'm just going to go for finishes.